big?
He's checking the depth right now.
So yeah, we're good, right?
And then the width of it doesn't really matter. It's just overburying's not good.
Yeah.
And then if you dig too far and then backfill, if you never packed enough,
Yeah.
it ends up kind of settling funny. And you get a pickaxe.
So this is Enoch Blake's garden, and he gardened this area when he put the stone wall in 1807. So he pulled the rocks out of here a long time ago.
And then same with the tree. The tree has been used to growing around in circles.
Yep.
So you have to at least cut some of the roots
Some of those roots to keep
and
it from
teach
circling.
it to kind of start to root out instead of going around in that
Jamming
circle.
your fingers in there and kind of pulling it
Take
open.
it apart, and that helps eliminate girdling roots, which could eventually shorten the life of the tree.
Yep.
And it
Stress
promotes
it out.
the outward growth.
Exactly, and that's what
You know, just like branch structure, you need to prune the roots at first just to teach them where to grow.
Oh yeah, that thing's been in the container for a while.
Yep. So they always pot it up to a bigger pot,
Yep.
and you hope that they give it enough room, but same thing, they're supposed to give it those couple chops
Yep.
just to make sure you separate the roots. You know, essentially that's a pruning cut, and then it will branch out now.
Yep. You want a knife?
Even low if anything, so an inch. Sure. Plant it low, it won't grow. Plant it high and it won't die. See, it's below that, it's a puddle. So you get just that, like an inch, half an inch above grade. That's the best lessons I've learned over the years planting trees. Plant it high and it won't die, but if it's low, it won't grow. You know, just like if you raise the grade around a tree, you suffocate. Put a little, whatever, a cast of an inch, that's not going to change the grade, you know? There you go. Ribbons, some chokers. Good cleaning after this, you know, dirt don't hurt. I'll let you hold the case.
That's my fishing knife.
It's perfect.
That's not what the fish think.
Yeah, some big heavy roots.
It's actually a perfect day to plant a tree.
I
Nice
was gonna
and wet.
say, you know,
They're gonna love getting
Being in the ground finally.
some fresh water.
Yeah.
so Mary, what he's doing is, this thing's been in the container so long that when he pulled it out, he saw that the roots were growing around the outside of the edges. And so the roots don't straighten up by themselves, so he cuts it, and then when the new roots are initiated after this thing goes in the ground, they'll grow out away from the
Yep,
tree.
laterally.
This is essentially a pruning cut, but
Yep.
for the roots.
So it'll keep the tree from, these roots they grow in place, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you can girdle the trees as the roots get larger if they're in place.
And a lot of times if it's planted improperly, like they don't do this, they just plug it in a hole, fill it, you know, production pruning where they have like a whole row to do. The first bad thunderstorm we get with high winds and stuff, we'll be getting phone calls because all their trees are crooked.
They roll right over.
You know, because there's no lateral rooting to hold things in place. So we end up going there with a dozen duck bills trying to stake them upright. And they just never hold up very long after that.
Yeah.
And they're relying on the cabling system to keep them straight. So if you can take the cabling system away, they can't handle it.
They roll over.
And that's why we've always recommended not to use them unless you're in a severe case.
Yeah.
High winds all the time or really wet soil.
Yeah, I think
It's
it's
just
better
not
if they can just
recommended.
whip over.
Teach them to survive on their own. You
Yeah.
want the wind to blow, because it moves the soil and that's where the roots go.
Yeah.
It creates that lateral effect. And just the same if you were to transplant a tree, a year prior you could go around and make those cuts with a spade to the shape that you want, and it will then grow within that boundary in the next year so you can transplant it. You know, it works
Pretty
well.
smart.
Yep. Yep, very cool.
What do you think? Should we bring it up a little bit more? Or is that pretty good?
Maybe a little more, yep. Yep.
Another scoop.
So how'd you guys determine what level to plant?
We had measured it before we took it out of the pot. And we've got it to the point where this root flare is slightly above grade, which you want that to pitch water away so that it doesn't actually puddle in it and suffocate it. You also don't want in time for the grade to change at all, because that will suffocate it. So you need to make sure the flare of every tree is at or above grade. You know, and if you just kind of poke that soil surface, you can see the flare,
Yeah.
and that's what you want. You know, there's the first root there, so you want this to be just slightly above grade. You know, and you can do whatever kind of bed around it that you want, but you don't want the mulch layer to raise up. You know,
Right,
when people remulch, you want to make sure that they take some away.
You mean you don't like mulch muffins?
And the mulch muffins aren't good. Yep. We used to call them volcanoes, but
Yeah.
the other guy from Natural Lawn, he had a good joke there, the mulch muffins. So yeah, I think it looks good. It's got a decent spread.
Yeah, I like the triple stem. That'll be nice.
I think it's going to be good.
Looks real healthy too.
Is that just the bottom?
Yeah, just the bottom. Yeah, it's native soil to it, so it helps. It may even have some of the fertilizer from the nursery on it. You know, so share the love, mix it in.
You guys add anything else?
No,
Just-
that's it.
just
The
a little
soil's so good, you don't need anything. If it's real sandy and kind of junky, peat moss will help. But
And Doug had said this was the old garden soil, so it's absolutely full of nutrients. And just the same, I've been told many times you don't want to doctor this amount of soil because the tree will live off that for up to 5 years, but then when it doesn't have it beyond that, it'll just choke and die. It won't have that same growth response that it's going to have into that native soil. And then other people have different thoughts about the actual planting process and whether to compact the soil at all or not. And I'm under the belief that you want it compact, but you don't want it to be rock hard.
yes, like cement's
You
bed.
need to set the foundation for the tree so it knows to stay put, but you don't want to drive the truck over it. You know, it should be firm, but not
Firm,
too
but not
firm.
cement.
Right.
Now, those are your raised bed gardens?
They are.
Do you have stuff in them already, or?
Just soil. They're going to be planted with pumpkins.
Okay.
So we'll plant pumpkins in these 4. And then the one on the back, we're going to plant a variety of vegetables that have interesting leaf shapes.
Nice.
What ones did you pick?
I haven't chosen them yet, but probably we'll probably do kale and arugula, just stuff of interesting shapes. Squash.
But this way, it's more water per watering.
Yeah, so instead of the rain coming down and just washing away and spreading out, it kind of traps it a little bit.
Keeps it right in there.
Focus
And
on
again,
the-
our goal is to keep this above grade, and I know we are. Yep.
Cool. It's a beauty. Go.
Sweet.
Good
That went
stuff.
well.
Yep. Easy enough.
Looks good.
But yeah, it seems like you guys had a good turnout inside today.
Nice digging. You can never tell with the weather like
Yeah,
this.
right.
It's like
Yep.
you can never tell.
Right, furnace.
and he had a delivery, and they pulled up and started unloading wood, and then the environmental police officer, it's a state rating Arbor Day here, and which is kind of funny in New England because we're loaded with trees, but Arbor Day got its start around the 1870s, and which is when most of New England, including Massachusetts, all the trees have been cut. So there are only a few places here that have old growth forest in them left, and everything else, everything around here was open. So you wander in the woods today and you get these stone walls. That was all open in the 1840s and 50s. And so in the 1870s, this guy, Sterling Morton Arboretum, moved to Nebraska, and no trees. And he thought we need to. They were gardeners. Everybody was moving from this area when they opened up the Erie Canal. So they were used to gardening in stones and having to cut trees, but they'd cut them all down here. So he really wanted to plant trees, and that's where the whole thing got started. He was a newspaper man. So they started pushing for tree planting in Nebraska, and so he started pushing one year and writing it up in the newspaper, and got the Agricultural Commission to adopt it. So they actually adopted it as a state in 1875 or something like that.
This tree was planted in 2013. It's a sugar maple that was chosen to provide shade in this area, and I am really looking forward to seeing this tree do well. We're very fond of sugar maple trees. They're one of the strongest woods, and they present such a great upright structure, and I think we all have dreams as kids of climbing them. They're such a glory once they're fully developed.
And I'm thinking one of these days we'll be able to tap.
Yeah,
that's just our little secret.
In time, yep. We have this other one over here too. That's great. So it's good seeing it a year later. Definitely putting out new shoots. You can see a lot of the 5-inch new shoots popping out, ready to take off. And it's nice to see growth from one year to the next.
Yeah, I'm pleased with it. I was a little concerned, like I said, over the summer camp kids they like it. But on more than one occasion, I'd look out my office window and see somebody, and I'm thinking, let's see.
Well,
it's probably stiffens the trunk.
It does. It stretches it and creates that strain and stiffens it, just like muscles work, So movement is good, and it tests it and teaches it that it can grow taller because it has a firm foundation.
And it didn't break.
There you go. It's durable. So yeah, in time this scar at the bottom will be healed over, but at least it has that dense look down there, which is good. You want to be able to see the flare, So that's awesome. Should do well.
And what did you put around the base?
This was a black mulch.
Yeah, just a little bit of bark mulch.
A little bark mulch.
And it's actually been reshaped. You can see it's been trampled down, so we've had kids running around the outside of it again. It was, when it was put in, it was really nothing against the trunk of the tree. It was highest out here around the edge, and it just kind of sloped to the trunk. But it's been reformed, and it'll be reformed another dozen times before the mulch disappears. So we'll come back out when it's not wet and reshape it.
It's always good when you can put things to the test of Mother Nature and children.
Yeah.
Two different tests.
Yeah.
Lichen is this silvery,
Light blue.
Yep, light bluish. You see it on all trees around here. It's natural. It forms on its own just from moisture being present.
Yep.
And then the moss is uncharacteristic for such a young tree, but maybe it's really just waiting for the sun to be beaten on it to evaporate that moisture.
I noticed where it had a double leader, and it's healing over.
Yep, exactly. We got the bark forming in and closing up the wound, so
That's the amazing thing about the younger trees, how fast they can heal up,
Right over,
compartmentalize like that. It's like a couple years and you can barely even see them.
Right. Yeah, that works. And if you ever have a pair of pruners out here, I didn't bring mine. Just snip those two.
Yeah, I'll take those off.
That will, again, create a clean cut for the tree to respond faster to and heal over.
Be able to close up.
And that will keep the wood structure from ever beginning to decay.
Yeah.
Once that part starts to decay, the rest of the tree has to work that much harder each year, each storm, to survive. So that's a good beneficial thing. Pruning is important, and pruning promotes new growth. Most people think that when you cut a tree, you're taking a part away, but you're actually stimulating it to force out new shoots.
Yep.
So pruning promotes new growth.
So I'll cut those off. I'll probably take this down
you
too,
can
just a
shorten
little
it.
bit right here.
Keep it balanced, and again, if you have branches like this that are the same size as the main trunk, we consider it a codominant leader. And if this tree, this branch, gets too tall, it could actually hook back over
Yeah.
and shade out the rest of it. So it's called the codominant leader, and it can compete and steal energy from the tree.
Yeah. I'll make sure it
Shade
doesn't.
the rest
Yep,
of it out.
yep, exactly. You can shorten it to another live branch, to any crotch. Make a clean cut, don't leave a stub, and it should respond just fine. Just simple tree care.
Yeah.
No, it's good. Nice to see years gone by.
It looks good.
Cool.
This will be a big tree one of these days.
Oh yeah.
Your kids will be climbing over
That
it.
sounds great. That sounds great.
All right.
That's great.
That work for
Thanks.
Oh, behind the hole. I don't think we're Bridgewater State. No. He's going to. He's making your mess.
Yeah, game just cuddles and loves. I'm thinking of Johnny.
Dad's gonna be calling Cuddles a tortoise. It's not tortoise, just Cuddles, I think.
You have like a month ago.
There. Yeah.
If I could find the right
Alright, you know what, when I get home, my last game, and I will email you the information.
What I would want to do.
It's no tasting.
What I would say is you would have another bat there.
So if you were gonna put like a piece of dried fern in it, would you do it at the, after you put it with the rolling pin?
But here I am.
I'm so glad that you
You
did.
should go make paper, and on that paper, made out of paper, you should draw paper.
Well, I actually hear the problem.
You did. Well, this was through the
Yeah, Disney character, because I'm better at that than you.
Yeah,
I don't know what else.
somebody suggested
All the sun
I
just
do
wants
it.
me
So
to
I
wait.
don't have to. You're rubbing it.
That's it?
They told me I'm good at it. I wanna watch it fail.
I'm not drawing a Disney
You're
character.
gonna find out what happened. What do you
Did
think?
Did you get his nose? Did you get his nose right? I got it right.
From the look of it, you've probably taken it enough water. You're gonna
I was determined
flip
to
it
get
here and press it down from the sides, not on the screen.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna flip it down, not from the sides.
That's not.
Something like that.
Johnny, the artiste.
Johnny, you messed up.
Yep.
Push it around. That's just a mustache, Johnny. You have to reach
Push
out.
hard, push hard. So you see there's a lot of water there.
Yeah.
So because there's support, you can push the sponge down. and get the rest of the water.
Oh, really?
And I do it in an orderly way.
Really?
No rubbing.
Do it in an orderly way. What is this? I'm just picking it up.
Press and squeeze as the sponges are on.
You are so picky.
I want everybody to have a photographer was thinking about how to use this paper to do
Still basically a square with
photographs.
Oh, that was Al. Yeah.
Yes, that's Al. Al made paper.
Did he?
And he had
Paige
rabbit
and
fur
Heather are gonna
in it.
make pepper here in just a minute.
Okay, so you know how one
Okay.
All right? So,
There's still moisture.
well, there's gonna be.
So you think
You
I
wanna
can
lift, just lift the corner,
start to thump it?
thump.
Oh, which means
But you have to lift it in, oh, come on. Let's have a little bit. Let's have a little bit. And you can keep lifting it.
Is it coming off?
Yes.
Oh, it is. Okay.
It's hard to tell.
That is a nice screen.
Yeah, somewhere, I think I have a roll of that screen.
Yeah.
I think this one came this way, and everything
go with that.
Okay.
dolphin?
All right, now,
So,
roll.
Is it a dolphin?
yeah,
Now, don't roll it too hard or you'll
does this go back into the water?
Yeah,
Easy rolling.
easy roll. Just
Take the
gently
one time you get
take out that little bit of extra.
Yep.
thinking I really wish I could draw.
He's fat and his teeth fall at me.
So Carla, I got a question for you. The National Phenology Network is a group. That's good? Okay.
Blue blobs, I don't know, you must be blessed.
I picked them out while you weren't looking.
I did a thing here in Norfolk with some
Oh, okay.
I got distracted.
That's all right.
my pen, my green pen. Who has a pen, a pencil, a pen?
I got a pen right here.
So on this, you write your name,
Really? Okay.
because I'm gonna let it dry here until I go home, or until you go home, and
Okay. Thank you.
it'll be a little drier.
Okay. Sweet.
It'll be on card.
Okay. Nice. My kids are gonna be so impressed.
They made paper.
You made that, Dad? No, I did not.
So you say you had a question?
I did, yeah.
You gotta be kidding me. What takes me time? Because I was like, yeah. But you know, I figured out I have to do like 48 days. Are you kidding me? Well, I mean, I just, well, it's roll. Guesswork. Then I cut it. Then I just cut it down and come on ahead. Fun.
It's adventuresome.
Fun.
I've got a delta one. That's what I should consider just cutting the edge. What's that? I'm not happy with the edge.
Happy dragonfly. I have no evidence of it there too. It's dirty enough. It doesn't even get any of it. It's not even often taken. One people told me, yeah, and I went to get my bags. He wasn't there. No. Not my bags. This is very quiet. On the other hand, I got another temper. I really thought I was done with that after my mother died. Wasn't counting on stepmother.
That's great.
Never had any idea what to say. We've had a lot of interesting things. We found a penny. Where you got? Oh. We got a nice dragonfly. I have no idea if you can see that on camera, but it's the biggest thing we have.
Snails.
Yeah, we have a big snail. If I pick him up, he'll suck his head back in. I don't want to pick him up. I can move that.
In the water too.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. Where'd he go?
Back toward you.
Oh yeah, there he is. So I found some snail. Ooh, you can see him sucking himself in real quick. As he closes the door, going, ah! It's gonna eat me! I'm not going to eat you. I don't know why I'm talking to you. You can't hear me. And damselfly, there's no way you're going to be able to see that with the camera, I don't think, through the top, though. Yeah, that's tough. Because I've tried to take pictures of them. And a lot of isopods. Oh, and there's a dragonfly. Would it help if I put something white under it?
I was curious. There's a question. I noticed how does that?
There's a dragonfly.
Is all these properties?
It's the same thing. Those are the same thing. different sizes. Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to see him in there. He's really small. I was very proud of myself. I found that one. And it's pretty good for the one-eyed woman.
I'm gonna go grab one.